Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good morrow. Yeah, we'll add a morrow in there today for you guys. To anybody who's watching here, I hope you're doing well. My name is Ben, and I am joined by John and Doug still. And we are hosting not hosting, we're streaming the Warmachine Tournament, the Team Championships, the WTC 2022 from here in Blankenberg. And we are into 7 teams that are undefeated. So today is going to be our last day of streaming. I reckon there's going to be 3 games unless something happens.
3 rounds, yeah.
Which is going to be interesting. So
long day. Pardon me. It's going to be a long day of competitive games today.
yeah, long day yesterday, long day today. We'll have covered a total of 30 games, like 30 matches happening.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Over 6 rounds, which is absolutely crazy. We have currently got Canada versus France, Canada Goose versus France Asterix. So it's going to be, 2 very potent teams, clearly, both undefeated on day 1, which is always great. And the players have already started, so we're just going to go straight into the top downs and start doing a run through of the tables. We are going to be ending up focusing on one of our tables today. You might notice that some of the clocks on the screen aren't being updated. That's because the players have opted to use a traditional chess clock, which we don't want to inhibit them from playing their game. You know, one reason or another, they prefer the original chess clock or the traditional one.
Well, and when you're working with 2 undefeated teams, they're gonna look to have as much familiarity and as much default advantage as possible.
Of course, when the moment you start introducing anything different or changing anything, like, let's be honest, humans in general hate change. Like, as an overarching thing, everybody hates. Like, change is not good. Familiarity is perfect. So we want to make sure they're as comfortable as possible. And if they are comfortable using the tablets and the clocks that we've provided them digitally, that would be absolutely wonderful. If not, however, that is also not a problem. But we're going to be doing a brief overview of the top of the 5 tables that we've got here. And then we're going to be landing and settling on table number 5, where we're going to be watching a bit more in detail. And we're going to try and get you guys a little bit more concept of what's going on. And then we'll hop back to the other 4 tables as the games progress every now and then. So, on table 1, we have got Dron, who is running Madrak 3 and Trollbloods. We had one of those yesterday. I think it was on table 5.
Popular caster, yeah.
Yeah, really, really solid. You know, the Trollbloods being able to have that regeneration and all that sort of stuff makes them a little bit more annoying to deal with, to say the least.
Yeah, well, it's not just that. It's also Madrak Champion, Chieftain of the Creels. I keep reverting to his other name.
Yep.
It's just a melee powerhouse.
Yep.
And their ability to get in and just wreck faces is real strong.
Yeah.
And then Gearhart, as we were talking about yesterday,
Yes.
is a much more adaptable caster. Right?
Yep.
And he's got Mr. Clog doddering along, handing out different types of weapons and stuff like that. His caddy. And he excels at changing to an evolving battlefield.
Yeah.
So.
And that's what happens in the game. It does evolve. And, that ability to swing from one direction to the other in terms of what you can provide to your force is key to be able to make the most out of your caster, really. We saw quite a few assassinations yesterday. It was a lot more common than I would originally expect. I don't know whether that's just the players not necessarily positioning themselves correctly or whether it was just a case of it happens more often than not. So, we'll see how many more casters we can see fall off the table today. But that's table 1. There's a really quick summary. Moving on to table number 2, we've got Mark Andre with Wormwood, obviously the Circle faction, against Fabian with Scar 1 and Crix. So, I'm sorry, I'm rooting for Crix at this point just because I really like the faction.
Well,
Yeah, you have drank the Kool-Aid.
I definitely have. I'm about to burst through some wall somewhere.
Okay, I want to see that now.
I mean, if the wall's made of paper, we're good. If it's anything more sturdy, I might. Yeah, exactly. At this point, I might fall over. A couple of apple juices in last night was not necessarily the best choice, but do you know what? I got to know so many players around the community.
I saw you,
which was wonderful.
Hanging out with a bunch of different people.
Yeah. That's one other thing about having an ego problem, meaning that I'm a live streamer, is that I also have I don't give a damn problem.
That's good.
I'll just talk to anybody about anything.
That's
it's great.
perfect.
It meant that I was integrated pretty nicely, which was nice. Anyway, table. Oh, have you got anything you want to say on this table first, Doug, before we discuss?
I was just saying we saw Scar yesterday, we saw Wormwood yesterday, so you're going to start seeing the the lists that are known to do well.
Yeah, the repetition's starting to come in, but that's because it's a solid foundation list. It makes sense. Why would you not use? Like, don't reinvent the wheel, right?
Right.
Like,
Nope.
there's no point. Then moving on to table 3, we've got Matthew with Resnick 2, part of the Protectorate. We've got Fabian running Helga 2 in Minions. Now, John showed me a picture of the artwork for Helga before the stream, and it literally is a hog on a hog.
It's hog on a hog.
Nothing short of phenomenally amazing, and we need more of that in every war game ever. Thank you. I want to see pigs riding hogs all the time. That would actually, well, no, a hog riding a hog, because hogs and pigs are different. For us they are. I don't know if they're different for you guys.
Yeah, I'm not touching that one. Sorry.
Anyway, table number 4, I think, is what we need to move on to.
Yes.
We've got Charles with General Osram, part of the Mercenaries. That's the second Osram we've seen, isn't it?
Yes, we did see an Osram yesterday.
Which is nice. And then Tom running Morvana 2, part of the Circle. I've not seen Morvana yet, I don't think.
No, I don't think we've had a Morvana 2 yet.
No, not yet.
No, so it's nice to see, even though there are these staples and looking at like the 2 lists, like in front of us, there are 20 different lists that could have been played.
Right.
And these are the 10 that have been chosen. And out of all of that, I've still not seen a Morvana, which is... and we've had 60 lists yesterday. We had another 10 on... When was it? Friday. So we've had 70 lists up to this point. And they're still bringing out new combinations and new casters and stuff like that.
Yeah, and that's not necessarily unusual. They have so many warcasters or warlocks to pick from.
Yep. It gives a real nice sense of modularity, I guess. So that's going to be happening there. And then moving on to our feature table here today, table number 5. We have got Corey running Rask in Minions. I like the name Rask. It's short, sweet, and punchy.
Yeah.
Which is super nice. And then we've got Florian with his Harbinger. I keep wanting to call it a Harbinger. It's not. It's a Harbinger. Part of the Protectorate.
Definitely a Harbinger.
Yeah, it's completely different from a Harbinger.
Yeah, this game here is going to be a great matchup with Florian being an excellent player and Corey having a lot of experience at the on the international level. So,
yep.
This is a good one to keep an eye on.
Would you, Doug? You've got, I think you've got Florian's list in your.
I have Florian's list. I've got it put into War Room for myself.
Perfect. Would you mind giving us a quick rundown of what is featuring in Florian's list?
Yeah. Well, the big thing is the Harbinger of Menoth is his caster. Harbinger's been around for a long time, and she is a very good caster. If you get close to her, you're going to get punished. She's known for a couple of things. One of them being her spell Cataclysm, which starts at a POW 20. It loses a POW for each full inch between the target and the spellcaster. But if you get close to her and she gets that spell off, everything's taking some damage. And then her feat also, as we saw yesterday, a lot of fire being thrown around. She likes fire herself. So for one round, advancing enemy models that end their movement in the Harbinger's command range closer to her than they began suffer an unboostable Power 14 fire damage roll. And as we know, Power 14 that's a pretty good shot at fire.
Yeah, I mean, Power 14. What's the average sort of armor that? Or what's the average power that we see from these sort of things?
Well, Power 14 is pretty high for a spell like that, especially it's going to cover a lot of models.
Yep.
And infantry armor can be anywhere. You'll see it 13, 14, 15, 16, somewhere in that area. So, and they'll also only have one wound in a lot of cases. So
yeah.
Just that Power 14 is going to kill a lot of the just regular infantry.
Yeah, which is super nice.
Another thing that she has too that's going to help her, Crusader's Call is a great spell. It's been around forever, but it allows her models in her control range that. So I'll read through it actually. The friendly faction models begin to charge as part of its normal movement. The spellcaster's control range gains +2 inches of movement. So anybody in her control range gets an extra 2 inches of movement if they're charging, and her control range is significant since she is focus 10. So her control range is at 20, so she covers pretty much the whole table.
Yeah, it's true. 20 no, it's a 20 radius from her, isn't it?
Yes, that's correct.
Holy smokes, that's literally 40 inches out of a 48-inch board that she can cover.
Yeah, and there's not going to see. I don't think any other caster has anything like that.
That's incredible.
Yeah, she's really good. She's a great caster. It's an older caster, but the model is always one of the coolest ones. She's floating off the ground, and
Having to be toted around by her
followers
entourage.
her followers are keeping her close enough to Earth where she doesn't float away.
Oh, is that the law?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's amazing. I like that. All right, cool. Yeah, and then what else? Because that's not just float.
Right,
It's
sure.
not just the Harbinger, is it?
Yeah, we can talk about a couple things. So the only jack that she has brought is the Judicator, which is a colossal. Judicator's gonna. It's one of the better ones. It's gonna wreck anything it gets a hold of.
I assume that thing there.
Yeah, and a lot of burning.
She has a couple of kick monks, technically a Legion of the Order of the Fist, but
They're kicky monks.
I think
Yeah.
around the world they're known as kick monks.
Kicky
So,
monks, yeah.
Yeah. She has a couple.
Karate monks.
Well, their pose is with one of their legs like out.
Right,
Full
it's
on.
literally-
So
Okay, cool.
everybody calls them kicky monks.
Perfect.
And then she has Harbinger has a couple of Champions of Order of the Wall. It's just a cavalry solo. Another silo, Hand of Silence.
Mm-hmm.
Just going through a lot. This is a solo heavy list. High Paladin Darton Vilman, Initiate Tristan Durant, who is a Jack Marshall, so he has the Inditer with him.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, we have a lot of Archons in list.
Yep.
A Midnight Archon, of course, being in the Protectorate of Menoth army.
Mm-hmm.
Then it looks like we have a Paladin of the Wall, another solo, two Vassals of Menoth, which are going to allow the Judicator to take an extra shot.
Mm-hmm.
Covenant of Menoth, the Choir of Menoth, which is just it's been a long-term staple. The Choir, they stand around, they sing, they can give a couple of different options. One being the Warjack gains +2 to damage rolls for one turn. They can give Passage, which the Warjack cannot be targeted by non-magical ranged attacks, which is great. Or they can give Shielding. The Warjack cannot be targeted by enemy spells. So the Choir's been around for a long time, and it's a staple in Protectorate lists.
Yeah.
And then lastly, we have the Initiates. I'm sorry, Initiates of the Wall. It's a Protectorate Paladin unit, 3-man unit, and we have 2 of those units, it looks like. And that rounds out Florian's list.
Nice. Well,
Brilliant.
Corey's got a pretty good ability to answer a lot of that with Rask and with just minions in general and what he's chosen to bring. It's also a very solo-heavy list. So we've got Rask, right? And Rask has his Trident Cannon, which is magical, so it's going to bypass the effect from the Choir there. And his feat is going to be really important. So his feat is Dark Waters, and while in Rask's control range, friendly faction models cannot be targeted by attacks, charges, or slam power attacks made by models more than 5 inches away from them, and it lasts 1 round. So if they don't have, like, the cavalry that you mentioned earlier in position already, it's going to be ineffective if Corey chooses to feed at the right time. And that's going to be really important because you have those Paladins of the Order of the Wall and other things that aren't going to be able to charge in and screen.
Yes,
right?
so
Get the shield wall and stuff like that in place to protect the rest of the units or the caster, depending on what's going on. So there's a pretty good, knock knock, I'm here situation going on with that if it's used at the right moment. I mentioned the Trident Cannon. It's another one of those weapons that you have various attack types to go with it, so it's not necessarily the same shot each time. So Arcane Interference is great, because when it hits another model with this weapon, upkeep spells and animi on that model expire, and it loses the focus points on it. So he's probably going to want to try to be in range of the Judicator when possible without putting himself at risk, again, possibly on the feat turn, to make sure that he's not going to be suffering the reprisal from being that close. And basically it gives said Jack disruption. So since that's the only Jack that Harbinger's got on the table, outside of the one that Tristan's carrying, that's a pretty high likelihood if it gets to that point, if either of them gets out of position. Otherwise, he's just going to deal with Tristan and his friend. Outside of that, moving down the list, with Rask, he's got Gator and Soul Slave. All right, pretty much standard. That was his requisition choice as well, I believe. And he's got Arcane Assist, so basically he just makes all the casting better, right? He's Spell Slave, it's how that works. We've got Swamp Horror, which any minions list or any really good reason you can find to bring a Swamp Horror you want to.
It's a good looking model.
It's good looking model. Power strength 16 isn't the worst on a basic melee attack, so I mean it's effective, right? But the big thing there is it's Animus, which is elasticity. So target friendly faction model melee weapons become range 2.
Oh, good.
Right. So it's just a range 6 thing, but basically he's handing out tentacles. Is the way I like to think of it. You get a tentacle, you get a tentacle. Here, reach further. And then overtake, because of the theme. So when a model with overtake destroys one or more enemy models with basic melee attack during its combat action, after the attack is resolved, it can immediately advance up to 1 inch. Corey's whole force is incredibly mobile, and with that feat having the ability to lock down the threat of charges as an option to answer for those things, I think that's going to be one of the biggest factors of this game. On top of that, we've got the Ironback Spitter, solid.
Oh yeah.
Rorschach Brine, also, like, how can you not? Quack Slick Spine and Gub. Got a Witch Doctor, Lanissa Ristle to add additional support, some nice ice to throw around against the fire that the Harbinger and the rest of Menoth is going to bring. 2 Primal Archons.
Oh, 2
which
Primal
we've
Archons.
seen a lot of dual Archon lists, right? It's just kind of common at this stage. Briefly touch on them because they're your big countercharge and hyper regeneration, right? They're going to be really hard to take off the table, and that's going to be really important because that's a good way for him to be able to screen Rask if he does get out of position. 2 Swamp River Raiders, just solid. Like to shoot them harpoon pistols and get stuff done. Barnabas 0 with another Swamp Horror, and that Swamp Horror is only going to enhance Barnabas. Under Chief Meyer with a Blackhide Wrestler, which is another great thing to pass out to some free tentacles too. A lot of extra attack, or a lot of extra reach on those attacks. A Bogtrog Mist-Speaker for an additional support, and a Swamp Gobber Bellower Screw. So yeah, Corey's got he's got a lot he can play with in this list.
Yeah, but he has to deal with Adjudicator.
Right. Well, and I think when you have to deal with Adjudicator, this is going to be one of the ways to potentially get that done.
Yeah, just trying to avoid the sprays and the rockets. And
yeah, and that's going to be the important part. And I'm wondering if we're going to see him keep the Primal Archons on that job.
Yeah.
Along with maybe Barney 0.
Yeah, looking through the Adjudicator, I had forgotten just how much firepower it had with.
Oh no, it's ridiculous.
A couple of flamethrowers, a couple of rocket pods, AOE 3 POW 14s.
Yep.
So there's gonna be fire everywhere.
Yeah. So the Bellower's crew probably gonna be working overtime on this one.
Yeah, and I had mentioned earlier something about the Vassal of Menoth. I think I was mixed up. I was thinking the Vassal gave an extra ranged attack, but I either had it incorrect or it changed over the years.
Things do change sometimes.
Right.
And we hate change.
Yeah,
we need change. Change is actually pretty important.
Oh, without doubt, it is really important. What it does is it helps keep everything alive, like the game alive. It helps keep all that stuff going.
And you got to fix some balance issues as new models come out. Sometimes certain combinations will get more powerful than previous combinations, and we don't want anything too crazy out there.
And I'm actually going to assume that the white ring that we have between the Adjudicator and a chunk of Corey's units there is probably one of those cloud effects from the Swamp Gobbers.
Yeah.
So I have marked on the screen, just, I don't know, so we're aware we've got the H for where the Harbinger is. The R for where Brask is.
Yeah.
I went and had a look to see where the casters were, because, you know, that control range for the Harbinger is going to come in quite nice. It already covers quite a lot of the board, you know, keeping it relatively central. It's all of your army pretty well.
Yeah, and we can't actually hear what the players are saying, so to some degree we're going to guess at what they're doing or try to figure it out, same as a viewer would. Like I said, we just don't have access to,
which we'll probably have a little later today.
That's what we're trying for.
We're I think the festivities took over a little bit, and somebody forgot to reply to my message. But we are waiting for hopefully getting somebody in to be able to help relay information directly from the tabletop to us. I'll provide them with a laptop, and we'll, I don't know, have like a Google chat or something open up on this end so we can have a look at it too.
Yep.
And get you as much information as we can. Obviously, we've got 6 rounds overall over the weekend. Unless there is a very short, like small chance that we only do 2 today instead of 3.
They would have to have someone drop, I believe. Because we've got 7 that are.
It would mean the pair down losers.
Yeah.
And it would mean that when we go down to the 3 winners, so say the pair down losers,
Yeah.
the other 6 teams will get 3 after that.
Right.
It would mean that. No, yeah, we'd still have to have 3.
Yep, correct.
Yeah.
Someone would have to drop.
In fact, 2 people would have to drop, wouldn't they? Yeah.
And since all of that group is currently undefeated, I don't see them dropping.
I don't see that happening.
No, people came all this way. They want to play their games.
Yeah.
No, we're looking at the same cast today. Got myself, Doug, Ben.
Myself is actually John, not Doug, just so we're aware.
Right.
Yeah, so it's the same 3 of us as yesterday, but we are going to be taking a focused look on table number 5 today. And then we'll have a brief look over the other 4 tables every now and then. We can hopefully give you guys a bit more detail here.
Right,
Well, we can't say that.
Getting in position. All right.
Right. Florian is activated right now, so looks like he's mostly moving up. But these 2 are close enough that there's going to be some damage dished out here, I think.
Yeah. Yep. Well, so like I said, you've got Tristan Zero, right? And he's got his friend with him that are
the Inditer.
looking to break up that line and possibly create a lane to get straight to Rask. I don't see that happening on this turn unless he can, Rask hiding behind them there.
It's a pretty thick wall of.
It's a lot of
swamp.
It's a lot, right? And so I'm looking at. Where'd it go? I'm assuming those are the River Raiders. It is a little difficult to see, but regardless, he's got some stuff to get through if he wants to get there. But
yeah,
looks like objectives are going to be contested the whole time.
Yeah, he's got to get through these models here. He can't exactly go around them.
So we've got up at the top, we've got a Swamp Horror.
Yeah.
Right in the middle there, I'm assuming that is. It's difficult to see. That's going to be your Soul Slave and your Ironback Spitter in that order, I believe. So he's got a good screen protecting him at the moment. I was just trying to figure out who his buddies were right in front of him, that 3-man unit.
And just it looks like Florian was really just positioning everything. Like
he's just getting set up.
He moved his Judicator up. His Champion of the Order of the Wall had started on the flank and ran way over back into the middle of the pack. So looks like he's just setting things up for his next turn.
Mm-hmm.
Putting his models base to base. I'm going to assume those are going to be shield walls.
Right.
Just as a heads up, you are right, Kemp. My brain isn't fully woken up, so I couldn't justify myself this morning. If the pair down losers, the 7th pair down losers,
and then
after this game there will be only 3 teams undefeated,
right.
And then if the 2nd pair down loses,
right.
then there will only be 1 team. So there is a world where that happens, but it would be interesting, surely, to assume that would happen, particularly when they've gotten 3-0. But at the end of the game, it is a dice game, isn't it?
It can be, right? And again, like a lot of your positioning and a lot of what you bring and how they choose their matchups and stuff is to try as much as possible to keep it from coming down to the dice.
Yeah, of course.
Right? Obviously, the dice are always going to play a factor, and as many, many, many people say, if you want to be good at Warmachine, roll good dice.
Yeah, roll all the 6s.
But
and
you also have to bring a good list. You have to choose your matchups carefully, especially in a team tournament, and you have to really pay attention to your position and the interactions that are going to happen on the board. and keeping track of the interactions. That's what separates all the people that are here at the WTC from someone like me, right? I cannot keep all those interactions in my head.
Yeah, of course.
Right, which is why these folks are here at this level of competition, and I am not.
Yeah, they know all the great combos and when to put them together and
Yeah.
when to wait. It's
Well, and knowing your opponent's combos,
right,
so that
exactly.
you can avoid them.
I think that's always been one of the biggest challenges of Warmachine is that
Yeah.
the good players know the other person's army.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's this for a newer player coming in. I was talking to somebody last night. They were saying, if you go and play competitively, the bit of advice he was given was if you go and play competitively, you will lose for the next 2 years until you know everything in the game, and at that point, you might start winning.
Well, and that's one of the other things that I'm really looking forward to with Mark IV is one, it's complete refresh to what people perceive as the meta, right?
Yeah.
'Cause it's all new models
Yeah.
for the most part. There are some legacy models in Prime that we got coming out, but it kind of resets the battlefield on that level of in detail knowledge.
Yeah, it does. And it means it's a perfect time to get involved if you are looking forward to get into Warmachine. And there's no harm in picking up some models now, getting them all painted and ready because, as you say, they'll all have profiles. They'll all be usable in Prime, or most of them will be usable in Prime.
Well, there's a list of what is usable,
Yeah.
and you can use that to inform your decisions if you want to go grab anything that's currently on the shelves.
Super
which,
nice.
I mean, if it's currently on the shelves, there's a good chance that you'll be able to use it.
Is that list available on your website?
Privateerpress.com.
Thanks, John. uh, the pause was crazy there. Yeah, there is just a little bit of chatter in the YouTube chat here, mentioning that this is the third time that you can see that Finland have actually got paired down 3 times in a row.
Really?
Yeah, the algorithm just hates them.
Yeah, because the team that's that they're gonna have to play against really wants to knock off. Might be more than ever because they've already lost a game, so they
Yeah.
really want to knock off an undefeated team.
Yeah, they do. I mean, there's some level of I guess it's fire in the belly, so to speak.
Sure.
That you
Some
get.
vengeance, something.
Yeah,
there.
something like that.
I know if I'm the underdog at that point that I wanna rise up and take out the undefeated team.
Of course, no matter who it is as well. Like even if it's like a sister team, you still want to get. In fact, even more so if it's a sister team.
100%.
But yeah, I was chatting with the captain of the Finnish team yesterday,
Okay.
and he was having a conversation with the judge about how it's the third time they've been paired down. Is this normal? Is this forced? What's happening? And genuinely, the response is it's the algorithm. Like
Right.
it's just the computer gives each player, like each team, a randomized, or they group them out. So it's a Swiss system. So
Yeah.
all the 3 wins will go into a group, or the 2 wins will go into a group, or the 1 wins will go into the group.
Right.
Then inside that, I'm pretty confident everybody gets assigned what I would call a seed or a random number, completely random, and then they just pair it like that randomly.
Yeah. Anyone that has the same record. So as far as how they get paired down or paired up, I know strength of schedule is part of the equation. I don't know what all feeds into it though to decide which team is getting paired down or moved up to play against the undefeated team that's paired down.
I don't think it's a targeted thing at all.
I don't think so
either. It's genuinely just happenstance and coincidence that it is a thing that has happened.
Yeah, I think it's a math thing, which puts it out of my understanding. So.
Well, it has those weird squiggly lines that apparently people call numbers.
No, Ben, not for me.
I don't know what numbers are really. In fact, there's so many numbers on the screen at the moment, but
there are a lot of numbers on the screen right now.
A few. I wanted to go take a closer look at the board and just get a sense of some of what threat Corey is currently facing down.
You want to do some drawing?
Oh, I'm terrible at that.
Well,
How are you?
I
You're
mean,
terrible at drawing.
Corey.
You point, I'll draw. Sorry, go on,
All right.
Doug.
So, Doug, I was going to ask you actually specifically.
Oh,
he'll be right back. He's currently dying.
Yep.
So, one of the things that I'm looking at right now that Corey's going to have to answer for is we've got this cavalry unit up here, right, threatening the flank and looking to get in towards Barnabas,
Right.
actually.
Oh.
Yep, other way down. There you go.
Let me
And so
undo
I'm
that.
wondering if that is just a bait to try to get Corey to feet early.
Okay.
Yeah,
At
because
which point,
that
once
is
the feet wears off, Adjudicator and all those other units that Florian has right here, threatening that area, uh, are going to try to get some work done. So I think Corey's trying to remove that threat first.
Yeah, it looks like he's putting a marker down there to stop Rask being in range of being able to be. Sorry, Rask being in range of being able to be shot or charged or something like that along this way.
yeah, and I know historically Corey is a super aggressive player. Um, he and I actually, are friends, and so I hear a lot about his lists and how many games he plays and kind of his approach to things. So he's not one that I don't think he's one that's going to get clocked. He's gonna move pretty aggressive forward, but that I couldn't figure out where that second champion of the Order of the Wall went, and John, you pointed it out way at the top
Yep.
of the screen there. I didn't even see that all the way over.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we've got one up here, haven't we, and one down here. Is that right? Let me undo that so you can actually see it.
I think it's the one right in front of it, maybe.
This is the Harbinger.
Okay, so yeah, it looks like the other. Yeah, it looks like right behind her is the other champion.
Yep. Currently in reserve, but ready to flank round. And
Yeah, the big thing with them been like, we've talked about different rules in that. The cavalry in this case is speed 8, so when it wants to run, it's going to move 16 inches, which covers a lot of ground.
Yeah, of course.
well, or if it goes to make the charge, like we were talking about, to bait Corey into doing his feet.
Right, and the champions are good. They're weapon masters. They're going to be fast. They have a lance on the charge, continuous fire. Their shield. I guess they're classic fire knights.
Yeah.
And Ben has just marked some of the objectives.
I think that's a
on the map.
flag in the middle, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then the other two, the objectives.
So the Warcaster needs to be up on that one in the center.
Yeah.
Because if I'm not mistaken, let me swing over here. We are playing King of the Hill.
That would make. Do you know what? I've never heard the mission, but I assume that's what it would be called.
Yeah. So we've got the kill box, right? So that's one of the special rules for this scenario.
Okay.
Right. And so starting on the first player's second turn, which we've already moved to, I believe.
Yeah.
If a player ends their turn with a friendly Warcaster or Warlock completely within 12 inches of their table edge, their opponent immediately scores 2 points. Right? So what that is forcing them to do is get into the middle of the board.
Yeah, they have to be.
Right? Which is why they're all having to kind of clump up there. And as Doug pointed out, that makes the Adjudicator terrifying.
Yep. Yeah, because it can just
Right,
walk in
because-
and.
And with all those AoEs, right, you've got to really set the stage so it has to make the choices you want it to and not just blow you off the table.
Yeah, sorry, the players just working together as a team to help with tokens.
Gotcha. Or
Nice.
just someone's out of something. Ah, there we go.
So
Josh to the rescue.
does that mean that with that behemoth model with all the firepower on it, right? Does that mean that Corey's going to be up against a pretty tight ask to be able to consolidate onto the middle objective? Sorry, onto the flag with Rask and his protecting sort of cohort that he's got, or do you think it's going to be a case of he's going to have to try and shut that down, maybe using the feet or something like that?
Well, I think it's dangerous for him to group up near any of the objectives. Just if he gets too many models together with the AOE attacks of the rocket pods on the Adjudicator or the spray attacks,
Yeah.
I think he could.
Well, I think the house that we're building, right, that we've got
That's
in the
true.
middle there is currently working to Corey's advantage.
Absolutely. You know what? It kind of blended into the ground with me, and I wasn't thinking that was the top of the house.
That at the moment is all safe area, right?
Oh, yeah, and yeah, Piotr's in chat saying the house is blocking the Adjudicator,
Yeah.
but also protecting it from being charged.
Yeah,
in some
absolutely. And
instances.
I that's what I was saying is I didn't realize that was the top of the house. I was thinking it was like rubble or something like that.
Well, and all it's, really doing is dealing with line of sight, but when it comes to those rockets, that can be a way to say, hey, I don't care.
Yeah, of course. Sorry, yeah. So that's sort of like the area. He is safe, but also
or
things
less
behind
threatened.
it. Yeah, things behind it are also less threatened. You were talking about the sheer amount of profiles here on the Judicator. Doug, can you run through what it has? Is that a
Yeah, sure,
possibility?
absolutely. So one of the big things on the Adjudicator is, or on any of the classes, is they'll have weapons on each side. So in this case, they're symmetrical, and the rocket pods are range 14, which is probably above average. AOE 3, POW 14s. The flamethrower, it's as good as it can get with a spray 10, and it has fire and continuous fire. So the attack type or damage type is fire, and
now
if it
you're
hits
on
you,
fire.
you
Yeah.
are, yes, exactly, on fire. And then finally, if for some reason that doesn't all work out, it does have a giant power 21 fist.
And and if you're not, medium sized or bigger, that's almost certainly just going to take you off the board.
Yeah, absolutely. It's, I mean, and that's like the, I don't know, what do you call after secondary, tertiary?
Tertiary.
Tertiary.
Thank you, tertiary. It's the third. I didn't know there was a word. I wasn't thinking about tertiary being a word.
It's like trifle a little bit. It's got a T at the start.
So
Anyway.
the third attack though is it's a POW 21 fist. So
That's huge. That's huge.
Now the rockets are inaccurate, so there's going to be a -4 to the attack rolls with them, but still they can still drift around and hit things and take things out.
Right.
And also they have a secondary blast, so after you figure out the point of the impact, you'll roll a deviation for an additional 3-inch AOE. So and it's only a POW 7, but again, damage is damage, and he's dropping a lot of it.
Well, and part of me wonders if Corey isn't going to take this Primal Archon that he's got up on, like his left-hand side, our kind of top side. And one of the things he might be able to do with that once he gets past the wall there is possibly even just destroy that objective on the enemy side, right? Which will get him a control point, and it'll keep the enemy from being able to score anything with it. And that focuses the fight back down this way. Or if he can set up his control, it puts him in a slightly better position, lets him curve around and flank around the house to draw some threat off that way.
It does, yeah. And one of the things, I'm just speaking of the house, so we've got the circle in the middle of the field here, obviously with that flag on it. That house is giving Florian less space to have his models on the circle in a quicker, respect.
in an efficient way, yes.
Which means he's going to have to maneuver around it both ways, which is nice because it means that he can attack from two prongs and he almost doesn't have to make that decision. It's given to him.
Right, and he's got some cover while he dedicates those forces. Yeah.
However, it means that he's having to attack in two prongs, and each side will be weaker than if it was just the one blob or the brick, if you like, moving through it.
Depending, yeah. But yeah, they both definitely have a lot of room for what they're doing, and it looks like, there goes Tristan's buddy.
Yeah, it looked like I saw Florian putting a lot of damage checks on the Inditer, and
Yeah. Well, what is that? Roche and Brine? Yeah. Roche and Brine like to cause things a pretty significant amount of pain. So Corey's just kind of repositioning them, getting them back in a favorable position.
Yeah, keeping hold of that objective, making sure it's at least contested, if not controlled for him.
Yeah.
In this particular mission, King of the Hill, the victory conditions are, you've got your standard lockout, assassination, and then what's the victory point cap in this mission?
So there is no cap on this mission.
Oh, wow.
In fact, there's not on most of them. It's just if you can get that 5-point spread, and then if once we get to the end of the 7th round, if casters are still alive and there's no 5-point spread, it's just whoever has the higher.
Yeah. Okay. So
it's a 7-round limit.
There's part of me that says, what we should do is get as many control points as early as possible, and then just try and drag the game out, protect yourself, and then go for an assassination.
And it looks like he's gone to block the charge potential over there. Fantastic.
Yeah, there's not a lot of Warmachine games that go to
round 7.
Yeah, to round 7.
Yeah, no, it's usually, at least in my experience, especially during competitive Warmachine, it's decided around turn 3.
Yeah,
round 3.
Really it is.
Yeah, and if not, it's very quickly in round 4.
Yeah, that's fair.
Watching everything we've got going on here.
With Corey taking out that jack, that leaves Tristan with without a whole lot to do. He's got a spell, but I think it's immolation. But the big thing was having him out there pushing that jack around, and so by taking it out, it kind of handicaps Tristan too. So it's a good surgical strike.
Well,
by
especially
Corey.
because right there that you have the swamp horror that is attached to that's not Barnabas. Who is that? Can't see. No, because Barnabas is the one with the swamp horror. Underchief Meyer has a wrestler. Is that? No, that doesn't look
Might
right.
be a wrestler down here.
Yeah.
Or
This top down. That's why I had to go look earlier.
Oh yeah.
yeah. What I will hopefully do between the lunchtime is set up another camera so we can get a side view.
Yeah,
Oh.
that's great.
Spiffy.
And see if we can
or
do that.
even if you if we had a way to do a handheld for part of the sum.
Can do, yeah.
Yeah.
I think we can do that.
I know we've got
I mean,
Rorschach
we'd
Brian
have to
that
jump
got
back and forth, but
repositioned back here. That's that guy. We've got a Primal Archon here. This looks like Black-Eyed Wrestler. We've got a Swamp Horror here. The other one is here and is the Swamp Siren mini crate model version of it.
the first mini crate model.
Very first one. Let's see what else we got going on. This is our Ironback Spitter, I believe.
Yes, that's who's
Yeah.
blocking any kind of
And
path
then this
there.
looks like our other Primal Archon down here. Yep. Okay, cool.
And I'm curious to see if Florian has jammed himself up a little too much, where he might not be able to get enough over to that side where the Wrestler and the Spitter are at.
This side, sorry.
Right.
The bottom side of the map.
Yep. Yeah, Roche and Brian are in a great position to be able to just kind of keep plinking away, especially with that Primal Archon providing some physical intimidation, if you will.
Of course. Right, well, that is what we've currently got state of the table on table 5. I think it's possibly worth us just going a quick look over the previous 4 tables.
I think that's good, just to take a few minutes and see what's going on in those other tables.
All right, brilliant. Let's head on over to table 1 with John versus Killian. We've got models that look the same as the table, so it's a little more difficult to see. But I can tell you with unquestionable certainty that Killian's army is gorgeous.
Yeah, absolutely. So I didn't see the end result of the painting competition, which I was helping judge last night. But I can tell you the army that I gave the highest marks to was Killian's army.
Yeah, it's technically wonderful,
It's
executed,
unbelievable.
gorgeous, blended wonderfully on all the metals and things like that.
Now,
Yeah,
if
and one of the you've got this signature model right here. You've got his
Colossal.
Colossal is in a really good position for its various spray attacks and area effects. He can just
And I also heard
wipe it across there.
Sorry, John. I also heard when they were putting their objectives out that both players' objectives came from their WTC experience in I think they said 2018, possibly 2019, but they were custom objectives from that event that each nation had made.
Amazing. Veterans. All right, moving over on to table 2. Just before, whilst John has just had a cheeky look, we have got Marc Andre with Wormwood versus Fabian with Scar 1. Wormwood, we know, is nothing short of annoying, being able to put down that line of sight stuff.
Lots of forest.
Yeah. He's like, I want trees everywhere, please. Give me trees.
Well, and he's got them, right? I was just looking at the table over there, and his model count versus Fabian right now is a pretty significant advantage.
I mean, this are all, and this little bit are all models, right? For
pretty much, and then down in your swampy bit down here, but yeah.
And this one here.
But
maybe. Sorry, I turned the whiteboard on by accident. Flashbang.
But looking at the time left to both of them and the models that Fabian's got on the table, he definitely has options.
Yeah. At that point, thank you for giving me as little little models, because now I can think about what I'm doing with each one properly.
Right. Well, because as we saw yesterday, right? Scar is a very mobile caster.
Yep.
Right. The forces that he's going to take with her are also very mobile and can hit really hard.
Yeah, proper hard.
The Wormwood does have a little bit better advantage against her than it did Kalissa, because Kalissa had True Sight.
Yep.
And I don't believe Scar 1 does.
I don't believe she does.
So that is actually, like the various effects that Wormwood can put into play can actually be a problem for her.
Yep.
Um,
We get a chance to see the feat be usable by Wormwood here instead of a little bit redundant.
Right, exactly.
Which is quite nice. Perfect. Okay, that is our table 2. Let us move on over to table number 3, where we've got Matthew versus Fabian, Resnick 2 versus Helga 2.
I've got to take a cheeky look at this.
Yeah,
one
you can
because
take a cheeky look.
They've got a pretty interesting situation going on there.
Perfect. Well, we will turn John down so he doesn't blast everybody's ears when he moves the microphone.
Right.
Is there a particular favorite that you've got out of these two teams here, Doug? Not, when I say favorite, I mean favorite to win, not just favorite team.
Yeah, so that could be two different things. I'm pretty familiar with this Canadian team. Several members are, actual friends, and like all during COVID, Corey and I played online games together. So I'm pretty close with some of the guys on this team. A few of my, like John, I just met. Some of my LeBlanc, I don't know as well. But they're all veterans to North American events. So I know the names and I know the people. So it's a good group, and if I was personally rooting for one, I would probably be rooting for Canada in this situation.
Yep.
But I also, the French teams are like James said Friday, that the French team all the French teams are very good, and they have a lot of experience, and they could easily, obviously they're 3-0, so they can. They know what they're doing.
They know what they're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'd be curious. Like we were told yesterday that the French had 3 teams. Was it 3 teams, and then they had to drop down to 2 because of?
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's maybe it worked out as a benefit where they condensed, some of the players, or I'm not real sure. But I know that they always send out a good team.
So the thing I like about this particular matchup is Helga 2 to Resnick 2 is just kind of fun thematically. To me, it has a very Mad Max vibe all the way around.
Which isn't a bad thing.
No.
It's funny you say
Especially because they're the ones playing on a table that has a cloud of fire and
right.
looks, like a desolate wasteland.
Travis and I were laughing about, we were at lunch and we were talking about the flight over here, and we were on different flights. We were talking about the movies that you could watch.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, I watched Mad Max. I'm like, yeah, so did I. You have to watch that every chance you get.
And anytime you can.
Absolutely.
So they're both actually in fantastic position. I went and took a look at the board. Matt's got his Menite Archon right up in here, ready to just go wreck faces. But just about Fabian's entire line is also in really good position to screen and answer any attacks that come in. So that one should be interesting to see as that shakes out as they get to the point where they have to roll more dice.
Yeah, and Matt's got the large base going there with Wrath of Ages. I'm curious if his plan is to get Wrath of Ages up in some melee, or if he's just kind of setting up to let the Colossal do the work.
I think he's setting up to let the Colossal do the work.
That's what I figured too.
Yeah.
Well,
especially because his rack is on the opposite side of the field over there.
We will check back in on table number 3. We're going to move over to table number 4 before skipping back to our feature table on number 5. And on table 4, we've got Charles versus Tom, Osram versus Morvan.
Yeah, and I don't even know who to give the edge to in this one, because this one just seems like a grindy, drag-out fight.
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot on this one. I mean, they're clashing in the middle already, so
yeah, and their time's not terribly far off of each other. Looks like Charles is making a few more decisions than Tom's having to at the moment, but I suspect once he gets everything in play here, Tom's going to definitely have some things to figure out, because he's got threat coming every direction.
Yeah, it looks like it just switched over to Tom's turn.
Yep.
So probably a pretty big turn here. Did we see? It doesn't look like they're updating on what turn they're on.
No, the players don't update what turn they're on. I've decided.
okay.
I've decided that even though they're glaringly large buttons on the iPads,
It's
still
safer.
not big enough.
Well, it looks
Okay.
like the control points are 1 apiece right now, so
Yep.
they
They're
are
scoring.
at least
Yeah.
getting the scoring on it.
Perfect. Grand. And then we will go back to our feature table on table number 5. And we can check back in here with Corey versus Florian.
Okay, we've still got all our Swamp Horrors. We've still got both our Primal Archons. Judicator's still kicking, but looks like it did a bit of firing for effect in the center there. Looks like the Bellows crew is gone, perhaps. Sorry, I'm just taking a look at the board here.
Absolutely fine.
Looks like he has pulled his Initiates of the Order of the Wall back to his Archon.
Yep,
Right over
so
here.
They'll have.
He had those up advanced before, so he's got those pulled back here. Looks like he's just spending his turn consolidating, and he's getting the Judicator in there. Looks like he is going for those fist attacks. Looks like that's how he wants to deal with that Ironback Spitter that's right in his face.
Yeah, he's managed to take it off the base as well, which is quite nice to be able to not
yeah.
have to deal with all the.
The overhang.
Yeah, it's a little weird because it just looks like he's got a bit of a garlic bread pizza situation going on, but
Yep. So he's declared his attacks on the Ironback Spitter.
Right, and I'm not
Not
sure which
surprised.
attack he's swinging there, but I'm gonna assume he's using the punch.
Yeah. So this is gonna be dice off 5, I believe. Ugh. That is not the amount of damage you wanted.
That's not good.
It's some, but he passed that over.
And the Judicator does have Reliquary where the model gains an
That's
additional
nice.
attack.
There we go. There we go. Those are some beefier dice rolls. Getting that dice in, and boom, that does it for the Spitter.
Gone.
well, was there really any point in rolling those dice there at that point when you've got
Yes,
such a massive
yes,
fist?
because because the Ironback Spitter actually has a pretty he's a robust little dude.
Oh,
right?
okay, cool.
I
Yeah,
think it knocks down. Doesn't have a knockdown ability.
I believe so. It's because it's got its Spit Blast, which is very dangerous over there. Because where he had him, he would have been able to spray off into this side over here. We've got Ben here. Yep.
That's like an exclamation mark.
He's got the Counterblast. He's got Overtake, Carapace, because he's got +4 armor against range attack damage rolls, which is probably why the Judicator moved in to just punch him in the face.
Well, the Judicator also gets an extra die on attack damage rolls and drops the lowest. So that's that's
which is why he was rolling
extra.
those extra dice.
Exactly.
Yep.
But yeah, it was definitely a really good decision on Florian's part to get in there, engage it, knock it the hell out of there, so that spray wasn't a factor anymore.
Yeah, it's quite, it does mean that Corey was putting a bit of pressure on Florian, and he's had to use his big damage output from this point to disable that, but it means that, it's moving even further down this side of the board. Now, being such a big lumbering creature, it's going to take a little while for it to eventually get back up to here.
Right. But now Roche and Brian are going to be able to, when it goes back to Corey's turn, there's a good chance that Roche and Brian are going to be able to take some boxes off of it, along with that Primal Archon that's still, kind of tying it up against its left foot. Yep. So, I don't know. Like, it is still either of their game. Right now, it looks like Corey's the only one to nab any control points, but as you're well aware, especially from yesterday's games, that could change pretty fast. Oh, that.
See that? Roll.
Ouch.
Yeah, that is going to hurt.
That's crazy. A 666 always good, regardless of what game you're playing, unless you're rolling for ones.
And there goes that Primal Archon.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
All
when
right.
you roll hot like that, it's going to see stuff removed.
Yeah. Well, apparently Florian subscribes to the Be Good at Warmachine by rolling really well.
Was it microwavemydice.com? Is that the website you go to?
Microwave my dice.
Yeah. Have you not heard about microwaving dice? Oh, there was a whole load of controversy in an alternative war game where somebody genuinely took their dice and microwaved them because
Jesus.
it made them weighted to the bottom.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah, that's classy.
My friend tried it once, but put them the wrong way up in the microwave, so it ended up just rolling 1s and 2s for his entire tournament.
That's
I'm like,
Yeah,
first
I
off,
mean-
don't cheat.
No, but if you're gonna give yourself a handicap, I mean,
Well, yeah, definitely. But yeah, have you not heard about microwaving dice before?
I had not.
Oh no, it's a thing that happens.
Yeah, I actually have heard about it. I haven't done it.
Have you saltwater floated any of your dice?
I don't know that one.
Okay, so if you put water in a jug and then fill it with salt, like not all the way,
Basically
obviously, but
increase the buoyancy of
yeah,
the water.
yeah,
Yeah.
you can see what side of the dice are favored
Oh,
when you drop them in because they will float to the top.
And they'll roll to the.
Yeah.
Okay.
To the most common value at the top. So if you want to check if your whole dice spread are balanced or not,
well, so what if they're
you know.
balanced? What happens?
the dice is perfectly balanced. It'll like float on a corner or on a side or something like that. It won't be a
Or
flat
every
face.
time you kind of pop it down and let
Different
it come back
side.
up, it'll
That's
it'll
fair.
actually stay random.
I was just curious.
I had heard about that, but I've never actually seen it work.
Oh, I've done it with my D&D dice before because I swear I could always roll ones, like crit fails every single time. And I'm like, this is not right. And it turns out that one of my dice was weighted.
Oh.
And I'm like, oh, well, I bought this the other day.
Wow.
Can I get a refund,
Go back
please?
to the store, throw it at the clerk's head.
Right.
Take it back.
Well, we play some online role-playing games.
dice.
Some more online role-playing games. I swear my digital dice that I roll are weighted because they never roll well. Maybe it's just a dice thing for me.
All right, so he is moving his Archon up.
Right. So the Midnight Archon is
Okay, is he
I can tell
gonna
if he
be
charged.
in range on Rask, or did he just fly?
It looks like he just flew straight over that building.
Yep.
it's possible he just walked over the building. Yes, flew, but walked and
Yeah,
When
I
you
think
attack.
he just moved. I don't
Yeah.
think it was a run.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, it looks like he did just move.
Well, it depends. If he starts rolling melee damage on the
Could be a
swamp roar
charge.
there, then it was probably a charge. But
Yeah,
it looks like he's moving to his other activation, so just quite possibly a run, or he shot first. I missed it.
And we've still got the harbor again.
That'll hit.
Super safe down here
And-
as well.
At the moment, yeah, he's definitely cleared the threats out of the way. All right, so yep, that guy is toast.
Quite a pivotal turn here for Florian, hasn't it? Being able to lift both of those big beefy boys in the bottom.
Yep.
And being able to consolidate his position a bit better than he was before. You know, having those units that are a bit faster. We saw at the top as well. The roadblock is now gone.
Yep.
So that cavalry can still come in and flank round here, potentially applying more pressure and could be pushing Rask. Obviously, you don't want to push Rask in there because of the mission, but
Yeah,
it
I
might be a case
wouldn't-
that he has to sit around here.
I'm not gonna be surprised if when we see Corey's turn start, if we see Rask's feet come into play.
yeah. And John, what did you say Rask Street was? I don't remember what
Let
it
me
is.
swing right back to it here.
It's you can't play the game anymore.
Which is my favorite. No, so Dark Waters means that while in Rask's control range, friendly faction models cannot be targeted by attacks, charges, or slam power attacks made by models more than 5 inches away from them. Right? So there's not a whole lot that's up in his face right now, and that's going to give him the chance to do the repositioning that he needs, or to potentially go ahead and just prevent counter charges and stuff as he gets work done.
Right. Just flip back over to Corey. So
Right. So kind of curious to see how this goes because Corey's got options. I'm just.
Oh yeah.
I want to see if he's going to hold out for the next round or if he's going to go ahead and make it happen.
So just out of curiosity, that feat is that at that measurement done at the time that the feat is achieved? Or sorry, activated, or is it measured when? Like, so say
No,
if
it's
you
when
are
it's activated. Like if he pops his feet, it lasts until his next turn. Basically, it lasts for 1 round.
sorry,
So-
what I mean is like if a unit is currently more than 5 inches away, if they then move into 5 inches in their turn and then shoot,
Then that's fine. Yeah,
that's okay, cool.
Yeah, but it's inefficient. So
Naturally, yeah. I just didn't know if there was the option to do that should needs must, which is quite nice.
right. So it's. I'll read the wording here again, just so maybe that helps it be clear. So it's or slam power attack. You know, any of the attacks made by models more than 5 inches away from them.
Yep.
So if they close that distance, they can still do what they need
Perfect.
to do.
Brilliant. Okay. So that's it means that Florian has to sort of hit the go button when that happens.
Right.
Or waste a turn.
He's got to commit, or he can spend that time repositioning.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
But
or look for models that aren't protected by that feat.
what it does do is it does give Corey a bit of a safeguarded turn be able to be like, right, okay, I only have to deal with these 2 things that are attacking me rather than these 8 things that are attacking me.
Right. And if it basically kind of shuts down the adjudicator from causing lots of problems.
Corey has destroyed that Archon
A few
multiple times now.
Yeah, it's a tall boy.
It's a tall boy. How many focus points or fury points does he have to spend to just remove your opponent's model?
Looks like one hand.
Yeah. So 5 fingers.
5 fingers. Well, 4 and a thumb.
You know,
5 fingers. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, well, the player's just putting a marker down to know where the Archon is, instead of having to deal with one of the most flamboyant and gorgeously sculpted models. I mean, to be fair, I say that about pretty much all the Warmachine models.
I mean, you're not entirely wrong.
They are beautiful.
I know I'm biased, but
That's
I
a
am a
good-looking
big
game.
fan of our models. Whole range. I just will never put Nis Hunters together again. The Selena Rayfield ones.
I don't think anyone will.
No. Mark IV. Bye. But I had to put them together because I needed them for my retribution list, my Nisavos list.
I felt like in the earlier days that was an initiation ceremony where you had to put that unit together.
Yeah. No, if you didn't have to put them together, it meant that you were taking the easy way out and you were a coward.
They were. Ben, we're talking about an older unit that came out. It was all metal and it had some odd parts and cuts, and it was a challenge to assemble.
Yep.
Yeah. So you had like a 2-handed weapon, right? And the arms were separate pieces. So
Right.
to get the positioning on them just right.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
How many of these do you have in an army as well?
It was just her.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
the
that's
rest,
not
the
too
rest of the
bad.
unit wasn't the easiest to put together, but it was fine. It was her. And she's unique, so you only had the one.
That is fair. We can see the clock is currently on the clock, and he is deciding what he wants to do here.
Yeah, it's a big turn for Corey here.
Popping out his effects. I think the Bellows crew is gone. So I'm not sure which effect this is. Oh, it might be a misspeaker. Bogtrog misspeaker. Getting some bits down, or Quack. Could be some Mudfoot.
Yeah, I know he was talking about Quack earlier. This Florian, I don't think was familiar with him. I heard Corey explaining how he worked.
Sorry, quack, dice. Ducks. Ducks quack.
Ducks do quack, and
Yeah.
this Quack does everything twice because he has a little bit of an add-on.
Yeah, so he's got a little buddy that's part of him.
Yeah.
Amazing. He's got mini quackers.
What was the
Gub. What?
the Schwarzenegger movie like that?
Oh, Total Recall.
Total Recall. That's what it was.
Yeah.
That's what I think of every time I see that.
So I actually think he's one of the cooler models in
I
the
think he's-
Minions 4s.
Very cool.
Right. So
Okay.
it's not just a cool model, but like he's actually really useful. He's got, just a diverse list of magical abilities. So he's got Enliven, target friendly faction War Beast. If the War Beast is in range, the next time it suffers damage from an enemy attack while it is not advancing immediately after the attack is resolved, it can make a full advance. So basically, like, if it hasn't made a move and you go to hit it, it gets to run up at you. He can heal. Just real simple here. D3 healing. Take that damage off. Mudfoot, it's range 6 magic attack. Model hit by it loses Pathfinder and treats open terrain as rough terrain. So basically, it's a nice slow. And then Venom is ranged spell attack. Models hit suffer a power 10 corrosion damage roll and have the continuous corrosion effect. So basically, they have acid thrown in their face and it continues to burn.
Yeah, acid kind of tends to do that.
And then you can cast each of those twice, right?
Is it
So I
dual
think-
casting? Is that what it was?
It's like Slick Spine gets
share
to cast
the
same
share the
thing.
load, right? So once per turn, when this model makes a magic ability attack or special action immediately after, it can make an additional magic ability attack. Yeah, just little buddy.
Right.
But he's only still got total combined 5 hit points. So I mean, he can be taken out of the board
Yeah.
pretty well. You've got to protect him, but if you can keep him around, he can get a lot done.
So which one's Quack and which one's Slick Spine?
Well, it's Quack, Slick Spine, and Gub.
Okay, I thought maybe the
Gub's the little one.
Gub is the little one.
Yep.
Right. That's
I mean, it's 3 letters versus like 17. You had the clearly goes the little one, right?
well, of course that only makes sense, right?
And John is just going to have a cheeky look at the tabletop for us, so we have a bit more information. Yeah, both of these players under that half an hour mark. Corey only just, Florian well under at this point, nearly breaching the 20 minutes left. So
Yeah, we're on Corey's turn. Let's jump a quick jump to table 2, and it looks like it's 3-0 on table 2.
yeah, that's what we've currently got. Let me find my mouse. Cheeky step in over here to table 2. Looks like we've got a couple of control points coming in across the board, actually. 3 is also 3-3, and 4 is 1-1.
Okay.
But we're looking in Fabian's favor here. Marc-Andre not necessarily doing the best on the control points. As we said earlier and mentioned, Fabian's been managing to really control the board portion and the flags and the objectives, which is quite cool.
Yeah, and I'd be curious if Fabian has already. It looks like Fabian is under feet right now.
Yes.
So I see his feet token out there. So that's +5 armor, +5 strength for however many wounds that Scar decided to take. So that puts him in a good spot offensively and defensively. So it looks like Marc-Andre is going to have to deal with that +5 armor on a handful of models.
Yeah, and putting it on those key models is great, and there's a reason, France are 3-0, and there's a reason Canada are also 3-0. I'm pretty sure both of these players will have made the correct choices in terms of which models to put that buff on.
And this is a pivotal turn for Marc-Andre here. Obviously, if he doesn't get some points here, he's going to be in trouble. But I have a feeling he'll get a few this turn.
Yeah, he's he is three points behind currently.
Right.
But the thing is, it's a 7-turn game, and as we said before, most games end before that point.
Absolutely.
But it means that he's really got to start looking to pull something out of the bag here.
Yeah, and this is the turn he's going to do it. If he is going to do it, this is the turn. So
yeah, well, it's do or die, I think, at this point, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I think this is he's got to get something here.
Perfect. Welcome back, John. Thank you very much for returning to join us here.
On what you were saying about table 2 there, yeah. Canada's got a bit of a kind of a commanding presence on that table right now.
Canada has.
As far as models.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
As far as models, so I think if he picks his targets well on his turn here, he has a good chance of.
He needs to pick up some points here. It's 3-0.
But I think there's a good possibility of a swing if he can pick his targets well and get into position. If not, obviously, then Fabian will hold on to that lead and possibly push it. But
we think that Fabian did indeed feat this turn as well.
Okay.
With Scar. And has put
that will make it more difficult.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's acknowledged that that's what Mark needs to do. He needs to make a big sweeping movement roundabout now, and he's used his best possible opportunity to try and prevent that from happening and make him change direction. So table 3, we're looking at a 3-3. It's pretty stalematey in terms of the score at this point.
Yeah, and as I mentioned before, kind of a Mad Max scenario, but also very grindy.
Yeah, but we are also only looking at 7 minutes on the clock here for Fabian.
Yeah. Well, and they're in 3-3, right? So they've both got points on the board. They've both removed a number of models. They're both in a good position to again continue to choose their targets wisely to try to get themselves back into a more advantageous position versus a stalemate.
Yeah, of course. And if we nip back on over to table 5, we can actually see the first control point here for Canada. Coming in solid.
Yeah, I was over there watching, and as it was Corey's turn at the time, still is, just being very deliberate, right? So taking his time, looking at what was going to give him the best position, and it looks like Florian is going to attempt to answer.
Yeah, I kind of get distracted looking at the player movements and forget that we're announcing this and not just all standing
not
there
just
watching.
hanging out.
Yes,
it's just not a Thursday night at the game store.
Right. It's a Sunday afternoon at the game store or a Sunday morning.
Yeah,
I don't even know what time it is. 11
Oh.
o'clock here.
Time has no meaning.
11 o'clock here, which means that we are breaching over into the hour left for the round as well.
Yep.
Actually, technically half an hour left of the round, right?
Yeah.
Because
But it looks like most of the players are well within that.
yeah, definitely. I mean, we started hard clock on at 9 o'clock.
Yep.
20 minutes for pairings, 10 minutes for table matchups, and that means the game started no later than 9:30 here for the
Right.
players, and there's a 2-hour death clock, which should mean that within the half an hour time limit, we should see the games wrapping up. Obviously, due to pauses on the clocks and things like that, the timers might not add up to that in every instance.
Yeah.
It just depends how the game's been played and how many pauses you need to do for either scoring or judge calls or that sort of stuff.
I do think it's kind of fun to watch. Like this little solitary monk worked his way around behind.
Yep. He's gonna try and get some level of
Well, yeah, I
approach.
mean the cavalry unit really has been tied up rather well, so it hasn't been as effective as it could be. But there's a good chance that Florian's going to be able to get him in there next turn.
Well, with that massive amount of 16-inch run, if he decides
but
to on it.
I'm watching, and unfortunately, I can't see when or if Corey decides to feat. But I still want to believe it's going to happen this turn.
It's probably the last thing you'd do, right?
One of possibly.
Yeah.
It comes down to, again, get everything in position. Like I said, he's being very deliberate, as is Florian. They're both weighing their options. It doesn't seem the pressure's really getting at either of them. They're asking clarifying questions. They're playing a really solid game.
It's a very clean game between the two of them. Each of them are discussing those things that they need to have a chat about, and Corey before the start of the game, and so Florian as well. Were like, any questions about my list? No, great, okay.
Yeah, right.
This is
And
what it all does.
Doing a kind and gentlemanly thing and moving the Archon out of the way, because that likes to get biffed.
Because he knocked it over for a fourth time.
Just
Oh dear, oh Corey.
it's just right at that height when you're working across those planes, moving your models and stuff, that it's just really easy to hit it with the side of your hand.
Yeah, and this is also a modified Archon, and there's some spindly extras coming off the wings, so
But it's
pretty easy.
beautiful.
Oh yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
If you get a chance to look at it closely later, it's pretty impressive.
The conversions that we've got here in the hobby is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, in fact, part of the painting competition last night, there was a category for conversions. So again, I didn't get to see everybody that won. I'm pretty sure I know who won the conversions part, but
Yeah.
I guess we find out later today.
I think so. Unless I think it's announced later today.
The painting contest?
Yeah, or was it later today?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I was asking.
Yes, I helped judge it, but I did not see results.
Got
I
it.
know they were going back to compile the results. There were 5 judges and numbers for different categories. So I have not seen when they're announcing them, or if they already have though.
I've seen the first result come in from our pair down as well.
Oh.
Finland Kua versus Poland Kostam. And Finland taking the first of the 3 needed wins there in the pair down. So, if they win that, we are definitely going to 3 games.
Yeah.
But if they manage to become unstuck against Poland, we'll only be having the 2 today, potentially. But yeah, we've also seen on table 3, the Netherlands have 1 win over Austria. And then obviously table 1, nothing, and table 2, nothing as of yet.
All right.
For now.
Well, and as we're doing some of the update side of things, for people that are going to be listening in today and catching up with us on the next round or 2, we do start a few minutes after the actual game starts, because with the matchups,
We have to get the list entered.
right, they have to pick their lists and their opponent, and so we don't get those until after they decided, and by the time we get everything entered, they've started their games. So we are usually a couple of minutes in before we get going, if anybody's wondering why we're always a little bit late.
I also have to take a moment to say how much I love Corey's beard and mustache tokens.
They're fantastic.
I don't know if people can quite make it out at home, but each of those slightly larger tokens is, like your your beard, and then the pin trimmer ones are mustache.
Because Corey has a beard and mustache.
Because Corey Doyle.
Especially that.
Yeah.
Corey has oddly remained dressed the entire event so far.
Yeah.
As have the Swedes this year. I think it's the Swedes that were.
So the model that I wasn't able to see, and Doug, you might want to go take a look here in a minute there so you can kind of assess Florian's position. So I wasn't able to see if Lanissa was still in play. That could just be bad eyes on my part.
Could be. Yeah, you know what? Actually, I'd like to wander over and take a closer look if you're good with that.
Go take a cheeky peek.
Cheeky.
Oh, you guys! I hope to hear nothing but the word cheeky in the Prime cast now.
Oh, he said cheeky. He's got it. Everyone's got a drink.
Oh, I've done so well in not saying it.
Uh-huh.
I've let you guys take the reins on that one.
Yeah.
And then I just blew it.
Yep.
You
I'm
win
good at
some,
this game.
you lose some.
Right,
Peter
so-
Orta in the chat says it's 2-1 for Poland at the moment. Checking tiebreak, the software that the TOs are using to be able to put it in.
Yeah.
Those extra results don't seem to have gone in yet. So when they do, I will update because it's quite an important thing to know.
Yeah.
As it comes in. So we'll be able to keep an eye on that.
Well, and there can be a little bit of delay.
Yeah, naturally. Also, the app wouldn't work for me, so I had to use the web app this morning. It's perfectly fair.
That's what I've been stuck with.
Okay, so with Florian back on time here, both players rocking that 20 minutes.
Yeah, they are keeping it real close. Like I said, they're not faltering on anything.
Yep.
They're definitely taking their time and making the decisions that they want to make.
And we've just seen that cavalry model move at the speed of
Get it.
geez, like
So
like
obviously
me to the
running
food
over,
bar.
Yep. Getting in position, wanting to threat that charge.
Speaking of charges, Doug came charging back over with some information for us.
I bolted over? So Lanissa is gone.
Okay, I
You
thought
asked
so.
about her. As I ran over here, I heard you saying what I was seeing, and that's that cavalry setting up behind Rask
Yeah.
and in a position to.
Were you able to tell if Corey had used his feet?
You know what? When he
It
moved
doesn't
that,
look like you did.
I didn't see it.
Okay.
I'll go back over and look at it. What I was just seeing that cavalry setting up behind, and I was like, oh my god, this is gonna be scary.
I wonder if he's waiting for that, you know? Like, he's waited to see if Florian does move the cav round and what else he does this turn, and then he's going to pop the feet next turn.
It very well could be.
Like-
Very well could be because now that cavalry unit is in position,
You want to shut that down this turn if possible.
Right,
He,
and it's-
he would just have to make sure that Rask is more than 5 inches away.
Yeah, because then he can't be charged, right?
Right.
That's, yeah, I mean, we are currently more than 5 inches away. I can,
Definitely.
I would bet my house on that.
Just doesn't want to screw that up.
Well, we can see that Rask has stepped off the circle in the middle at the moment just to get slightly safer. I imagine we're going to see him potentially come around this way at some point.
I don't know because he's got enough stuff over that way to keep things more or less tied up, especially if you can, get that Archon coming this way a little bit.
Yeah, that's fair.
But it does look like he did what I suspected he was going to do and destroyed the objective that was over here.
Yeah, the token has been removed.
So basically taking that out of play as an option for Florian to get points. So that does help focus the forces down to the other side
And
of
that
the board.
did give Corey his second control point.
Right.
Oh, do you get a control point from
For
blowing them up as
destroying
well?
it. Yeah, you get one for
Yes.
destroying it, but obviously you can't get any more from that one.
So at this point, would it potentially be worth Corey destroying this one as soon as he can as well to then focus on the flag in the middle?
It again, it depends on how the feat turns out, I think.
Yep, okay.
Because if Florian can keep removing models, then he wants to keep as many options to score as possible, while keeping keeping a possibility of a lane open for that caster kill.
Okay, he just does need to be careful with Rask there, looking pretty potent. I imagine he is going to feat in his next turn. I think he would be silly not to.
Yeah, if he hasn't, there's no reason he wouldn't this turn.
Yeah.
This is
Like I could see him holding off for this turn, but I think it needs to get done.
It's detrimental, I think, if he does try and hold off for another turn. If you
Unless he thinks he can screen all his important models, but I don't see it.
I don't see it either.
I don't think there's enough to screen with, is there, at this point?
Florian's dice have been
And
treating him very kindly.
I
So,
keep seeing a lot of sixes.
Well, and he's at it with Adjudicator again, so he has
Of
the extra
course,
die
yeah.
in there.
and he just
10.
Yep.
So, I know a lot of people will be watching are a little more experienced than myself, for example. But for anybody who is watching back on the VOD, can you just really quickly explain how power?
oh, that's gonna hurt.
Can you really quickly explain how power versus armor works?
Yeah, so your power plus dice, right? Your power and strength plus dice minus their armor.
Yeah,
Right?
that's how much
So-
damage is done.
Right. So if my power and strength is 19 and your armor's 25, then it's my dice off 6
Yep. So you need to roll 7 on the dice.
in order to at least get 1 point through. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. But obviously, if you spike those 6s,
Then that's gonna go real well for you.
yeah, you're looking at 12 damage going through minimum.
With multiple 6s. Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So that was a beefy hit. And it looked
What
like
what's
Corey
the
was making a tough roll on that guy that got gacked.
what's the rough So obviously the wounds characteristic will change, or the damage taken it will change. But say for a standard jack or a solo, what sort of stuff are we looking at?
So most solos you're probably looking at about 5.
Okay.
Warcasters you're looking in the ballparks of that one varies rather wildly, but anywhere from 8 to 15 is fairly regular. Warjacks, your lights usually have 16 boxes.
Right.
I'm trying to visualize it. And
Little
then-
boxes, aren't they?
Yeah, and
Damage boxes.
then your heavies get up into like the 20s plus, and then of course your giant boys like the Judicator are significantly more.
I'm sorry, Florian's just rolling 4 pluses on the majority of these dice.
Yeah,
His
yeah,
dice are
he is
excellent.
not angry.
Although
at
he
his
did
dice.
just blow his own guy up.
It happens.
Yeah, it's all right.
That's so. As Doug mentioned, those rockets are literally have a keyword inaccurate.
The Judicator, John was talking about boxes. Judicator has 60 boxes.
6-0.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah,
60.
It's a real big boy. But what's really cool is we were watching the game yesterday where someone had 2 of the Supreme Guardians.
Yes.
I remember I was talking to you about siege weapons, so he gets extra dice on attacks against models like that.
Yeah, so he
So
starts
he
with
does
2
more
base, right?
damage, yeah,
And then
so he does more damage to other huge base models.
so he does 2 dice base, 3 against it, and then he can also spend some souls for a 4th one if he
You
wants
got
to.
it. Yep.
And then he's power. What was it yesterday?
19.
19.
Powerful strength 19. So
Yeah, absolutely incredible. On the armor of the
Judicator's
Judicator.
19.
yeah, so it's
so it's
straight dice.
straight dice, and when you're rolling 4 dice, you can take 24 damage off if you max.
Yeah, couple of
If you
swings.
max, Yeah.
Yeah.
So get a couple swings in there, and you can see why it's so efficient against other battle engines and colossals.
Yeah, of course. It has the capability to do some raw, untapped power. We did see that rocket taking off Florian's, own model that was down here. A little unfortunate, but the way it is. And now positioning some of his models potentially in range.
Looking at the range of his Kicky Monk.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Can he really throw his feet that far? Not that he doesn't pop his feet off and then lob them at somebody. He's you know what I mean? He's not got
super telekinetic kick.
Mr. Elasto.
That's what we should have made as a kick monk with a feat.
That could literally just teleport his foot
Yes.
up to 12 inches away.
We just call it feet.
Yeah.
He's gonna pop his feet.
No, it's feet because it's really long, right? So you just have 18 E's or something in the name of it. Done.
Nice.
Sounds like we need to make a Kicky Monk mini crate model.
With some mechanics in there as well.
Some
Yes.
mechanics. See, Ben, I wasn't gonna say anything about mechanics today.
Oh, were you not? Were you going to let me be?
Yes.
Oh, I thought I was getting the first punch in so that you guys didn't have to. My bad.
Yeah, no, we were being kind.
I don't mind.
I guess we shouldn't do that anymore.
No. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Well, we still have a full day ahead of us, so
We do. We still have at least 1, if not 2 games ahead of us. It is actually looking like it is 2-1 to Poland at the moment in the pair down, which is
Interesting.
potentially good for us because it means more time to sleep. But it's bad because it means less War Machine,
That's
Right.
true. That's true.
which is not what
Yeah,
anybody
and I mean,
wants.
no, yeah, we're here for the game. So if we're gonna get all 3 rounds of games today, I'm okay with that.
If we're gonna do 3 rounds, I want it today.
We had it yesterday as well.
Yeah, I know. I was.
Yeah,
just
we've
didn't
had
wanna-
we've had first 3 rounds.
was
What
making
about
a
second
joke.
3 rounds?
Oh, 11s is
Yeah.
luncheon.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, did somebody say lunch?
Yeah, I did.
Lunch will be after this round.
Lunch will be happening in
Yes.
around about 15 minutes. Actually, the players, between them, their clock reads half an hour, but there is only 15 minutes on the round. I don't know if they've got a hard dice down policy at that point.
I don't think
but-
so.
Well,
I
and
think
if
we'll
we
be
if
allowed
we
to
do a
play.
quick scan through the tables here, just kind of a quick bop bop bop.
Yeah, let's have a normal look, no cheekiness in it.
So
Good
as
table
we
one.
swing over here, still grinding down. I don't know if they've just neglected to update their points, but it looks like
Yeah.
at least the other both. No, we've got one here still,
And a flag.
and the center, but it doesn't look like we have the one over here anymore.
Nope, that has gone.
So someone's got at least one control point.
Yeah.
But it looks like things are starting to favor Killian.
Yep. And then over on table 2, we've got
Uh,
Fabian with that more control points here from Mark.
Yep, because it looks like he took away Mark's control point. Yep.
Yep, that's an objective, and then that's a flag.
And let's see, we got still plenty of models in Marc Andre's arsenal. And he definitely did some additional answering to Scar, but Scar is currently still looking like, ooh, if you roll like that, things are going to go your way.
Yes.
Jesus. Um,
I'm
So-
Ben, but thank you.
right. But
It's
so
just, table
Fabian,
4.
yeah.
All right. Sorry, we're going to nip over table 3 really quickly before
Still-
we do
yep,
table 4.
Still grindy. Looks like Fabian was able to grab 2 more control points this last turn of his,
Yep.
but he's only got a minute left on his clock.
Oh.
So if Matty Matt can get in there and
Get in his
Really,
head.
I think it's time to have Resnick do something. I'm
Yep.
sure he's been casting spells and supporting his units, but it looks like Matt has the same idea. He's spending some fury.
Yeah,
and
I see him
getting
measuring.
ready to get in there.
Yeah, that's
Yep,
absolutely fair.
yep.
And over
Enough.
on table 4,
Charles looks pretty good here. Tom's got a lot to make up. Yeah. I'm not going to say that one's called because of my curse, but I will say that
it's a
that
convincing situation at the
Tom
moment.
Looks like he's got a lot to do there.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, so we're looking at table 2 potentially France's way, table 3 potentially France's way, table 4's looking Canada's way, table 1 I think
Either's
think-
game.
I think that's up to the air, and then at the moment we've got it going Corey's way here
For the moment.
for the
it-
foreseeable
well,
future.
he's got plenty of time to really make this turn matter.
And
And
if,
as I was saying, I suspect he needs to feet
Oh,
here.
and we just switched turns. I didn't see if.
Oh, no, that's just to deal
Oh,
with
just a
a
counter.
retaliation.
Yeah. Okay.
And there it is.
Yep.
and if they all sort of like end as they stand, it really does come down to whatever's happening on table 1. So I might go and have a cheeky. No, I did it again.
Yep. I'll
Oh.
pop over there.
Oh,
See if
you
they've
would-
got control points on.
Brilliant.
Table
And
1.
potentially check the clock left as well. That would be great.
He's gonna take a cheeky peeky.
He's gonna take a nebby or a nosy.
A nebby.
A nebby. If somebody is nebby, here's another word for nosy.
Okay.
Doesn't sound quite as
Cheeky.
cheeky nebby. No, anyway. Cool. Table 2 has just paused. 13 minutes on John. Table 2 have indeed paused.
Right.
Okay. So 13 minutes for John. 6 minutes left. On this is table 1. Sorry. 6 minutes left for Gillian. Here.
Yeah. And John's checking that score on the Killian John game.
I assume I'm gonna go with 2-1 to Killian.
Ooh.
I assume he's rampantly destroyed that objective in the top, giving him a control point. Then I imagine he controlled it for a turn previously, or got hold of it previously. 3 to John. Oh, I was wrong. It's 3 control points to John, 2 control points to Killian.
Interesting.
Okay, well, what do I know about this game? Well, exactly, nothing.
Nothing. Same as me.
Perfect. Speaking of the game, Corey and Florian.
Back to table 5. Corey still on Corey's turn. Take a second to see what he's. I saw him moving around the top there.
Yeah, he's just moved all the way up to the top to be able to stop that monk from flying down with his crazy feet. In fact, just lifting him up. I've decided Corey doesn't like models being on the tabletop.
That's what I was. I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, he's like, no 3D, only play with bases.
I will knock over everything.
He's just trying to define Mark 4 already.
Every time he taps.
He just hit the Archon again.
Okay.
That's 6 times.
All right.
I like how you've been, and that's 6 times we've seen, right?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, we have cut away from the table a couple of times, so.
Yeah. Well, we need to be able to see what's going on the rest of them. These matches are rather important here, John.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. This is definitely a great matchup. I mean, we have to think about it. We have, what we say, 7 undefeated teams right now?
Well, yeah,
Out of
potentially.
50?
7 out of 50, although we are looking at a 2-1 currently to Poland over Finland.
Ooh,
So
so one more win for Poland, and they knock off.
one of the potentials. And then it all comes down to, if there is only 3 of them left, can the pair up win again against the pair down and only give us 5 rounds? Or will we see, and what we all hope for, will we see a 6th round happening here at the WTC hosted in Blankenberg? Wonderfully run tournament. And breakfast, them eggs this morning, oh, baby.
Well, I had to get 10 minutes of extra sleep, so I was able to just get in there in time.
Eggs and pastries. That's what I was here for this morning.
I'd been. It sounds like we both were late.
I had pastries. I had eggs. I was too late for the bacon,
Yes.
but I did have a ham and cheese sandwich as well.
That is exactly what I made.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
On,
absolutely
that
awesome.
croissant?
Yeah, yeah,
That's
Like-
exactly what I did.
Like mines.
yeah.
we're
think
like,
alike.
we're like brothers from across the pond.
It's a bit more than a pond, but I understand the sentiment. Yeah. Yeah, we are. Hang on. Which cheese did you have? Holy cheese or unholy cheese?
Unholy cheese.
See, I had holy cheese.
Okay.
Mostly because I thought I was picking up holy cheese and I was mid conversation with somebody else. And then I thought, well, it's already on my plate. I'm going to eat it.
I was just rushing. John woke up and he was heading down for breakfast, and he's like, "Hey, breakfast." But I set the alarm for 10 more minutes.
It looks like on table 3 we potentially have a clock out here.
Yeah, let's take a look.
Let me have a.
So Fabian's clock is showing 0, but his control points are tied.
Which would be a timeout, wouldn't it? Or a clock out, sorry.
Yeah. Yes.
Unless they both went to 5
And
control
we knew.
points.
Well, they're both at 5, but that doesn't matter if Fabian clocked out.
Yeah. What?
And we knew he was down on time. He was down to like a minute left last time we checked. So
Of course.
just trying to see if I can get a good angle on what happened there.
I think that is definitely a clock out. They're just talking about how many.
Yeah, what they could have done and how had they not clocked out, how it would have played out.
Yeah, I really like that about this game. Everybody's a case of, look, this is what I would do. This is what I was thinking about doing. Then it's a case of, cool, well, this is what you probably should have done instead.
Yeah.
That's quite nice. So it looks like we potentially got our first Canadian win.
Yeah, I want to walk over there and just
Yeah,
double check that. But
You go ahead. I can hold down the fort.
pretty sure we're right.
I can hold down the fort indeed. You're absolutely fine. Doug just wrecking the place there and ruining the karma that we had over here.
All right, so we missed it. Corey used his feet like right at the beginning. Of
Oh,
the game.
did he? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Which is what protected his models for so long there.
I think we might have missed it because we didn't expect it that early. We thought that it might have been used later
It's
on.
not surprising though with a kill box scenario that he would have done that, and that it probably helped his position quite a bit. And then looking at tiebreak, it looks like Australia Frilled Neck Lizards are our first ones to remain undefeated in
How many
this fourth
wins do
round.
they have?
All 5.
Again, they're
Again?
now 20-0.
No, it looks like, let's see here. So round 4, round 3.
Yeah, so round 4 they dropped 1 game so far. There's still 1 undefeated, but up until this point, the Frilled Lizards had literally 15 out of 15.
That's impressive.
Well, I mean, it's kind of an impressive team.
Yeah. Well, and that's what we talked about on day one.
I'm not going to put it past that group to pull that off.
It's a good team.
They need to be good at something.
I'm not touching that one. So Matt came over from Team Canada to get his sheet and claim his victory.
Take a quick look at table 3 if we can.
It's the one we've got resolved. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a clock
so-
out there for Fabian.
Right.
Yeah,
And they
tied
said
on points, still both had a good number of miles on the board. It looks like looked like Matt still had a little. It looked like he ended with a little bit of an edge.
and they said
Clock
and
will
talking
do
to
it.
both players, they said it was a good game.
Yeah, no. As I walked by the tables earlier, the banter at all the tables has been great. Like people are very, especially over at table 1. There's just been a lot of like yeah, that's what like when John was losing models, like the other side was like, oh sorry, like whatnot. He's like, no, that's what that thing does. Great.
Welcome to the game.
Yeah, like just
Oh,
a lot of camaraderie.
sorry, we've just seen the adjudicator go in here.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, he was getting that in position a little earlier, and now he's
Punching.
Yeah, he's swinging around.
get rid of those models so you can
Yeah,
take this
And
game.
then, I don't know if Corey
that
has the
it?
resources to take the adjudicator out anymore.
Yeah, but
Yeah, I think he's going to start to struggle. But, Rask is also sat just here. So if our adjudicator that we can see for Florian managed to get through here, I don't hold a lot of hope for our little lizard folk there.
Yeah. Fish face.
Oh.
1 down. 2 down. Surely.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh. Nearly. Not quite, maybe.
Well, and the thing is with only 6 minutes left on his side and no control points, he's got to try to get that caster kill. I don't know. Oh,
His rolls are so good.
yeah. Up. Okay, so he's got
What
rid of
on
that one.
earth
Well,
is...
he's just clearing the path. He's just clearing the path.
Okay, you can see the
Reeves-
nerves
yeah, you
starting
can
to
s-
set in as well.
Yeah, you can see him reaving, pulling those spells back. Yeah. Yeah, well, it's a clutch point here because we've got 1 point for Canada so far.
Yeah, you've got to try and make sure that you can take home that W for your team. And if you can do your bit,
Well, and between the two, they're both really good players, and they know it, right? Well, they know that their opponent is quite worthy. So
yeah, of course.
I can see a little bit of nerves coming into it.
Yeah, definitely.
It
I'd
happens.
definitely be freaked out if I had a chance to pull off an assassination against Corey.
Right.
I'd be a little tweaked out. But Florian so far has had definitely the dice luck to.
Well, we're back to Corey now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Trying to get those. Keep the adjudicator tied up.
Corey's got to do what he can here to be able to keep that, as you say, tied up, create as many roadblocks as possible, and stop the assassination
Yeah.
as much as you can. But with the dice rolling that we've seen from Florian, it looks like he's going to go through those models like Curry through a toddler. It's going to be pretty quick.
Like what through a what?
Curry through a toddler.
Wow.
You feed your toddlers curry?
That paints a picture.
Literally.
Literally.
It's what you're hoping for at this point, though. You need to be able to remove those models as quick as Corey's putting them in the way.
I don't think I'm ever gonna forget that visual.
I don't visualize it. I just
And
know the result.
I've had no choice but to visualize it. All right, so yeah, Corey's moving stuff around, getting things in position.
Oh, looks like he slid his Archon in there.
Yep,
Just tying things up.
Gotta keep Rask from getting run up on.
He's got to play that roadblock game now, hasn't he? He's got to put as many things in
Yeah.
Florian's way as
Well,
possible.
The Archon's gonna go ahead and finish taking out the rest of those paladins, the initiates there.
It
Yep,
really
so
doesn't matter how many
replace
models.
the leader. Yeah.
Sorry, John, I couldn't tell I was walking over you.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say with Corey setting up the defensive front like this, that really it doesn't matter how many models are on either side. It comes down to the points and the assassination, whichever happens. So
Yeah. So he's going to try and do what he can to stop Florian getting that assassination. I think
that's
that's
what it
pretty
looks
obvious.
like at this
Trying.
point.
And I think we're going to need to just take a cheeky look over the ending play. Oh, I said it again. At the ending position of table 4 as well, because we have a result.
Wrapped.
Ah, yes.
Just going to see these final little rolls first.
Yeah.
And oh, 5-1-6 appearing on those dice loads. We look like we got a
Yep, got that
5-point
5-point
lead
spread,
there
so
for
that's 2
Charles.
Canada.
Yeah, so Charles wins
Yeah.
on table 4.
Table 4, Canada win. Table 3,
Canada.
Canada win.
2-0 Canada right now. So
Yeah.
one of these last 3 and it's over.
Still, the Frillneck Lizard showing as the undefeated team so far.
Yeah.
But we've got a lot of results still to come in.
Oh, we're still waiting on those last 2 games from Finland versus Poland here.
Yeah.
As well. They are 2-1 ahead, Poland are of Finland at the moment, and that is our pair down.
Yes.
And redeploying that, or not redeploying, but shifting his knight there.
Yeah, instead of going around the bottom side of the map, going around the top this time, potentially trying to hint some movement into Rask in the middle there.
Trying. He's got 4 minutes in, as we saw yesterday. That can go real fast, so he's got to be really efficient with his decision making here. Make sure he plays all phases of his turn. That is definitely something that people need to focus on. Even if they're getting low on clock, they must play all phases of their turn. So they've got to get their maintenance phase done, any of the upkeep, all of those things.
Oh, really? You can't just forego one of the phases?
Nope, you can't just pass it away. You've got to go through each phase.
Well, this looks like a spray attack here going in a Rask.
Possibly. Yep, just
14.
That is.
No, he's likely transferring some of that damage to one
Oh
of
yeah.
his.
Oh
one of
yeah.
his-
So passing it over to some beasts.
Yeah, I don't see what he has left,
making
but
his marks. I just can't quite see his war room screen. from
right,
over here.
exactly.
Those are just amazing rolls.
Yeah.
Yeah, his rolls have been incredible.
At least one of those dice has been a 5 or a 6 every single
Yeah.
time. More often than not, it's 2. I mean, look at that. 3 for 5 right there. Is that-
discussing an
That was
little
it.
direction? There it is.
It's that.
Yes, indeed.
So France with the win on table
Yep.
5.
Oh, my God.
Rask
So-
done.
2-1 right now.
Yep.
Despite all the potential attempts stopping that from happening, it does. It's a dice game at the end of the day, isn't it?
Looks like our table 2 is also finished.
It's 2-2 going into table 1.
Hey, Josh. Josh. What was our result on 2? Huh? Who won on table 2? France. Okay, so we are 2-2 right now then.
Certainly are. We don't want to add these
So
players
uh,
any further pressure than they've already got.
Right now, the
table
focus
1
point
is
is
the
on.
last one, and last I went over there, it was 3 control points in Canada's favor to 2 on France.
And
See.
table 1 does know that the series is at 2-2 right now, so they're aware that this is the deciding game.
The oh,
And I believe he just said good game.
just getting the judge over to check it all.
So we're seeing on the screen that Poland, word is that Poland won.
It's not showing up on tiebreak yet. So,
I
We
mean,
just
up on
gotta
our
validate it.
chat. So
yeah. If that is the case, we are looking at a potential 2 rounds again today.
yeah, that
Insane.
would be insane.
To be able to go from, I mean, let's be honest, it was a very slim
Still
possibility.
playing through, so I really want to go take a look at that control point.
Yeah,
real
you
quick.
please do. Please
yeah,
do,
let's check
John.
it out. Yeah, I haven't seen the official updates yet, so we won't consider that good information yet. I will say this: table 1 is pretty intense. I can see the players, and they're feeling it.
6 to Canada on John's side, and then
Right. So one point away. It looks like Killian is activating. It's Killian's turn. Usually we have a.
okay. So not only is John ahead 6 to 2, there is also less than a minute left on Killian's clock, so he's going to have to play super quick. And John's sitting comfortably with 6 left.
Yeah, and yeah, it looks like Killian's moving pretty quick. He's getting his attacks in with his Colossal, but you can see the rush going on, and John looks pretty calm right now.
Yeah, I mean, you're in a position where it doesn't really matter what. Like, at this point, if something. You go in for an assassination again, Killian here, aren't you? Can, but I don't think you've got the ability to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's running out of time, but literally this is the deciding for this match is how this game comes out.
Yeah, a bit of stressful situation coming out here, but both players are handling it wonderfully. Just making sure the right damage is going over to the right models at the right time.
Yeah. I know they're talking through things, so surprised we don't have our judge in here for this game right now. They're trying to work something out.
Yeah. It's just the amount of focus and stuff like that. Oh, sorry, let me turn you back up there, John.
Yeah, so they were just discussing how the focus was moving around. He let Killian pause the clock to discuss it, and there we go.
And it looks like
There's a clock out there for Canada.
Yeah,
Well,
John-
for France.
John pulled it off.
Yep.
So Canada squeaks out the 3-2 victory on this one.
Oh, it's a bit close, isn't it? There at the end.
Well,
Yeah.
and John was being rather sportsman and just making sure to like give Killian time to talk through what was happening with the focus, make sure everything was nice and clear.
Yeah.
Like he's saying, very good game. Like it was down to the wire, and you see little nerves on the other end. So
Perfect. Well, I clicked the wrong button, but
There
let's
we
come
go.
back to us to be able to wrap up this final game. Look,
Great.
it's us back
So
on the camera.
That's gonna give us 3 for Canada, 2 for France. That was a couple of those ended up getting
Super intense
down
game.
to the wire there.
Yeah, that was a good series.
And that assassination there on table 5, just trying to keep France in it a little bit, was pretty good when you are ahead, as you were. But Rask, unfortunately, not able to take the firepower of the Judicator, as we can see.
And once you've got that spray and range, you really, especially with the way Florian was rolling, you really have to
And-
clench up a little bit when you're in that scenario.
We also have confirmation on tiebreak now that Poland did indeed beat
Poland, an
in the
upset.
pair down.
There we go.
So that means that we
First
already
down,
have
yeah.
3 teams that are undefeated going into round number 5. And if the pair down loses again, we could very well be seeing the
end.
winner
Yes.
We could.
on our stream's next game.
I feel like we're going to get 2 more rounds, but anything can happen, as you've seen.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. I thought we were going to be sure for 2 rounds, but unfortunately, Finland not managing to scrape their win there. But commiserations, but congratulations to Poland for doing that as well.
Absolutely.
So what do we have coming up, Ben? We have lunch, and then we're back here, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
so it's currently 25 to 12 here. We've got lunch, I'm pretty sure, ends at 1:30, I think it is.
Yeah, 1:30 is, I believe, when we're back.
And then we're back here again for round number 5, potentially.
Sorry, right
Crazy.
at 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock.
Okay.
1 o'clock.
Oh, wow. Really quick lunch then. Holy
Yep.
smokes.
Yep, got to get in there and shove some food. in
Grub
your face.
up.
Yeah. Oh, no, it's an hour and a half. 1 o'clock. Yeah.
Oh.
Because it's only 11:30. Okay, we've got
Plenty
an
of
hour and a
time.
half. I can have a nap.
That's
yeah.
my language.
Yeah, let's go for a nap. Not together, just separately.
But Ben,
Maybe together. Anyway, thank you so much for joining us, everybody. Really appreciate that. We are currently trying to get somebody able to be able to sat at one of the tables that we're going to be featuring, so they can communicate with us exactly what's happening when the defeats happen, that
judges
sort
are
of stuff.
looking around seeing if they can
So
find us someone that'll relay the information real time, so we don't have to keep going and taking so many cheeky peeks.
yep, and try and just disrupt the players as little as possible
Right.
during their game, because at the end of the day, we are coming up to the point where we could see a winner crowned within the next 4 hours here.
it's coming.
So perfect. Thank you very much for joining me, gentlemen. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Ben, roll drums.
We'll roll
Double, double,
drums.
double, 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 double.